Hi guys, my name is Hussein Mashayikhi. Welcome back to our Unreal Engine course. In the previous session, we learned a little bit about materials. In this one, we're going to learn more about materials, especially the node LERP and also FRESNEL, which are two commonly used elements that we use a lot in our works. We're going to learn how to mix different colors and textures to get new ones and use them for our materials. For example, we're going to learn how to combine two different colors and textures to get something like this, the color on the wall, and also other types of materials. So let's start. I go to my content browser, to my shader folder, create a new material. I'm going to call it test. I double click on it and I open it. On the slate, I'm going to press 3 on my keyboard 2 times because I want to have 2 color nodes. All right. And I choose a red color for the first one, something like this. And I want to choose another shade of red for the second one. Okay, I want to combine these 2 colors. To combine these 2 colors, I need another node called LERP. So I can search for it, LERP, and add it like this. Or I can press L on my keyboard and do a left click on the slate like so and get this node here. So for A and B, I think you can imagine what we're going to link, the 2 colors, but for alpha, we need a black and white map to be able to tell the LERP node how to combine these 2 colors. For example, white for the first shade of red and black for the second shade of red. So this alpha is a place where we can add a black and white map to tell the program how to combine these 2 colors. Now remember that we can choose A to have some kind of priority over B, okay? So let's start linking these to the LERP. I'm gonna link the first one into A, link the second red color into B, link the whole thing into base color, and I'm going to use a black and white map that we have used before for my alpha. So let me just find it real quick inside texture, maybe this one. So I'm gonna drag it into my slate, link it into alpha. Okay, and now you can see that these 2 colors have been combined based on this black and white texture. So I apply it. Let me just dock this up here. Okay, go back to main. I want to use this material that I just made for my piece of furniture here. So let's wait for it to be loaded there. Okay, so this is the material that I just made for this piece of furniture. Because the texture should be cloth, I'm going to add a roughness, link it to roughness here, and I'm gonna put the value of 1 because we don't want it to be glossy at all. Hit apply, go back, and there, as easily as that, we can get a cloth material with the 2 colors that we wanted. Okay, all right, let's just recap. So we had 2 colors, 2 color nodes, and 1 LERP, and we combined these 2 colors with the LERP with the help of an alpha map that we added. It's a black and white map. So let's do this with 2 other textures. For example, this wooden texture and this brick texture. Okay, so let's hit apply, wait for it, and go check it. Okay, so we just combined wood and bricks. Again, same method. This is what we get. And if we change the place of A and B, okay, we're gonna get a new pattern of this mixture. So I hit apply, go back. So this is what we get with a new pattern. Okay, so we can do that. So let me just get back, get rid of these. Let's just combine 2 more textures. For example, this concrete. I'm gonna link this into A, and the bricks. Okay, link this into B, hit apply, and this is what we get, mixture of concrete and bricks. Okay, as easily as the 2 colors, we can just combine these different textures. Now the size of my bricks is too much, so I'm gonna search for coordinate. I'm gonna add a text coordinate. I'm gonna link it into UVs, change the size. UV tiling 4 and 4 would be nice. Hit apply, go back. I should get smaller bricks. As you see, the bricks have been decreased in size, and this is what I get. Now there are times that you may want to change this black and white texture with Photoshop or even inside Unreal. So you may want to make it darker or brighter, and that is going to change your alpha texture and the final result. So let me just show you what I mean. Okay, let me just delete these for now. I'm going to show you what I mean. So we have this black and white texture, the alpha texture. So if we change this, modify it, for example, make it darker or brighter, it's going to change the overall pattern of our material. For example, if I change the brightness into 2, so it's more white now. If I save it and go back to the main, it's more bricky. So the brick was B. B is the white parts of the alpha texture, and A, this concrete, is the black parts. So if I go back and look at it, you can see that it's more bricky right now because we made this whiter. Now if I make this darker, for example, go to brightness curve, make it darker, go back, we see more concrete now because concrete was related to the black parts of the alpha texture. Okay, so the white parts were brick, the black parts were concrete, and that is how these A and B, black and white, is mixed for us. So now you know what I mean when I say we can change this black and white for this alpha texture here. So if we have a shortcut for this, I have another method to do this more quickly. If we press M on the keyboard and do a left click, we have this multiply node. All right, now if I link this texture sample into A of this multiply node, and I link the multiply into the alpha of LERP, now I need another binary node. I'm going to call this, convert it to parameter first, call it color alpha, for example. Okay, now I can just control the black and whiteness of this texture very easily. All right, I hit apply and wait for it to be applied to my material. Now let's just go back. All we can see now is the concrete material, so we cannot see any brick texture in this material, and I'm gonna tell you why in a second. Let me just first go back and create an instance. So I forgot to create that. Let me just create an instance too, so that we can have everything be applied quickly. Double click on it. And the reason we cannot see any bricks mixed into our material is because that this color alpha parameter, the value is at 0, and that's why we cannot see any bricks. Okay, so let me just go back, double click on this test material, make this a slate bigger. All right, pay attention to this. So we have this texture sample, and we have color alpha at multiply. So A times B. A is texture sample, B is color alpha. So when color alpha is 0, A times B would become 0, and black means 0. So white is 1, black is 0. That is why we get this concrete, because it becomes 0, and 0 means black, and it's A, and that is our first texture sample that we talked about in the previous part. So that's why we get only concrete and not any bricks, because we do not have any whites mixed in our texture sample, because the value is 0 right now. Okay, so now that we learned about multiply and how it works, let's actually change this 0 value and get our mixture going and see the bricks too. So I enable color alpha, change it to 1, and let's try this out. So I go back to the instance, apply the instance. So when the value is 1, it will be exactly like it was before we added the multiply, because it will be 10 times 1, which is basically 10, and it shows us the same. So if I put this at 2 or 3, now we see changes here. And I can even use smaller numbers, 0.3, 0.5, and you can see how this changes in real time. Okay, 1.1. So with the help of this parameter, I can change the amount that these textures are mixed together instantly. And for example, if I feel that I have too much bricks, I change this into a smaller value, and so on. Okay, so this is a very useful thing to do, making parameters. All right, and we talked about this before. All right, now the next thing that I want you to learn is that sometimes you may need to invert this alpha map or texture that you have. You may want to change the placement of the black and white spots on that alpha map. And in order to do this very easily, we need another node that I'm going to introduce to you right now. So you only need to search for 1 to get this 1 minus node here. And if you put this, link this into your texture sample and into your multiply, it will basically invert the black and white colors in your alpha. So if I save this and apply it, now we should see a different pattern of concretes and bricks. Okay, so wherever was bricks on this sofa is concrete now, and vice versa. Okay, so we can use this 1 minus node here to achieve this. All right, so far we learned how we can use the multiply node and the LERP node to control and mix two different textures and colors. And this wall here is made with this exact method. So it's very easy, and you just learn how to use it for yourself. All right, so we can create a lot of materials in our projects with this method. And what I'm going to do now is to just give this white material to this furniture too, so that it is what it was. And the next topic that I want to talk about is FRESNEL. Now in 3ds Max, we have this FRESNEL effect or element, and we call it fall off. Here it's called FRESNEL, and it's a very effective way to make our material resemble real life, and it's very necessary for cloth and that kind of texture. So when we have something in our direct line of sight, as we move to the sides, we get this different color. Okay, so when something is not in our direct line of sight and is just on the sides, it has a different color than what is in our straight line of sight and view. Okay, so we're going to make that effect, and I'm going to start by going to my content browser, and I'm going to go to shader, and I'm going to double click on this material here. I'm going to delete everything. Okay, we don't need these nodes anymore. All right, I'm going to start by adding a LERP here, and I link it into my base color. Then I'm going to press 3 on my keyboard a couple of times, 2 times, because I want 2 colors. One of them maybe this color, and another one another color here to be. So basically I did what I just did for the previous part, 2 colors and 1 LERP. Okay, now for FRESNEL we're going to use another type of alpha map. So I'm going to do a right click and search for FRESNEL here, FRESNEL function. I'm going to click on it, and we're going to use this FRESNEL function for our alpha map. So basically this FRESNEL map determines how things look when they are at the sides and when they are in our direct line of sight. Okay, now previously whatever was black in our alpha map was the A, and whatever was white in our alpha map was B. Okay, for now I'm only gonna link my FRESNEL function into the base color, and we're gonna see how it works. So basically if I do it, you can see that the center of this sphere is black and the sides are kind of white. Okay, the more we move to the sides, the more white they become. Okay, so this is basically how FRESNEL works. All right, so the more we move from the center to the sides, is gonna be white. Now later I'm gonna use these 2 colors instead of the black and white that you see right now. But for now, we can even control the radius of this blackness that we see in the center with this power. I add a value to the slate, I link it to power, and right now the value is at 0 and it's completely white. So it doesn't matter if it's in our direct line of sight or not. Okay, so if I put 1 here, it's basically the same. And if I put 2, now the area of the center, which is black, becomes bigger. 5 also bigger. So it becomes almost completely black. Okay, and right now the whole thing is A, which is black, and only the edges are white, which is B. And if I make this even bigger, for example 8, you can see it's just this blackness becomes bigger and bigger. Okay, so I'm going to link this into alpha so that we can use these two colors and test our Fresnel function. Okay, so I'm going to change different colors for this, maybe blue, and this one red is good. Link this into base color, save it, and go back to main, see how it all looks like. Okay, I apply this into this piece of furniture, and there. So basically, if you look at this from this angle, what is in our direct line of sight is red, and what is on the sides is kind of blue. If we change the angle, it doesn't really have any changes. So basically, if you look at it from this angle, the same thing happens. Whatever is in our direct line of sight is red, and whatever is on the sides becomes blue. All right, now I can change the colors that I just used. Okay, change it to different colors, or I can change power. I can change this number from 8, for example, to 1, and save it and apply it, and let's see how that looks like. Sorry. Okay, there. All right, you can see that blue parts have become larger, and whatever is on the sides have become blue. We use this technique again, like I said before, in 3ds Max we call it fall off. We use this technique a lot for cloth. So if I get rid of these two colors, this time I want to use textures instead of colors. So I add this one and link it to A, and I also link the same texture into B as well. All right, so right now let's go back to the main and see the changes. Basically, we are only using one texture, and we cannot see the Fresnel effect just yet because it's only one texture. Okay, so what I want to do now is to add a multiply here on the slate and use this for one of the textures. So I link one of the textures, for example B, with multiply, and I add a value to it. Okay, I'm gonna change this value, for example, put something to make this darker, 0.1, maybe 0.01. Okay, a lot darker. Save it, apply, and go back. You can see that the Fresnel function is working. What is on the sides kind of looks different as opposed to what is in our direct line of sight. So I add a multiplier for my first texture as well. I want to change this 2, so I'm going to add a value for this one as well. For this one, I'm going to put a different number, let's say 5, okay, so that it's brighter. Okay, so right now we have more juxtaposition. All right. Okay, right now whatever is in the direct line of view for us is kind of bright, and whatever is on the sides is kind of darker. And we can invert this too, like we did for the previous part of this lecture. But for now, let's just apply it and go back and see what it looks like. Okay, I think it's working now. Beautiful. So when we look at something, whatever is in the center is kind of bright, and as we move to the sides, it becomes darker. Okay. All right. So what I want to do is to change the size of this texture. I think it's just too large. So I want to add a texture coordinate here. I search for coordinate, add a texture coordinate like we used to in the previous sessions, link it into UVs and change the tiling into 5 and 5. Apply and save, go back to main, and it looks smaller and better now. Okay, it looks beautiful. It resembles a real life cloth that has been put on a piece of furniture. Like I said, we use this Fresnel function a lot for cloth and textures like that, but don't overdo it.